All right, so this is Nectar of Instruction Text 4. Do you see that?
Yes.
All right,
There we
cool.
go.
All right, so I started on a new book called Transcendental Diary. It's by Hari Sari, he's an Australian devotee that served
Mhm.
Prabhupada back in 50 years ago exactly, in 1975 and 6.
Ah,
Oh, hold on. I've got to press this so it doesn't go silent here. All right, so we're just going to start reading here. Um, we'll uh, take turns reading. I'll read through this Sanskrit here, and then you can read that paragraph after that.
which paragraph?
Starting with right after Nitya Siddha Krishna Premasada Kabama.
Ah, okay. Yep.
After that, you can start reading. I'm going to start reading from here. Even
Okay.
in ordinary social activities, these six types of dealings between two loving friends are absolutely necessary. For instance, when one businessman wishes to contact another businessman, he arranges a feast in a hotel, and over the feast he openly expresses what he wishes to do. Then he inquires from his business friend how he should act, and sometimes presents are exchanged. Thus, whenever there is dealing of priti or love in intimate dealings, these six activities are executed. You know what the six activities are, right? Uh, you know, accepting gifts, offering gifts, uh,
No.
taking prasad, offering prasad, uh, inquiring confidentially, asking questions. Those are six loving dealings with between devotees, and this is all these six types of activities are executed in the material world too, but when it's done between devotees, then it becomes a loving exchange. So
Okay. So it was serving prasadam and as well as eating it was
yeah, serving, offering prasad, accepting prasad,
yeah.
and inquiring confidentially and explaining something, revealing your mind, and then let's see, what are they? Okay, giving charity to the devotees, like giving them a gift, accepting from the devotees whatever they may offer in return, opening one's mind to the devotees, inquiring from them about the confidential service of the Lord. That's very important. How can I serve the devotee? How can I serve the Lord? And then honoring prasad, spiritual food given by the devotees, and feeding the devotees with prasad. That's a duty of a householder. If we're householders, we're supposed to invite devotees over to our house and feed them. Actually, in the Vedic culture, it's a mandate that, in the scriptures, that whatever householder, he has a family, he has some money because he has a job. So if before he eats, he's supposed to go out of his door and yell out the door 3 times. Is there any hungry man? Is there any hungry man? Is there any hungry man? And if nobody comes, then he can eat. Otherwise, he should feed whoever comes around.
Ah.
So that's and it just says it's kind of like a religious thing because the Christians also do that. The Christians, Christ said in the Beatitudes, as you have done to the least of these, my brethren, you have done unto me. In other words, how we treat other people, um, you're treating Jesus because the best way to understand how to deal with Krishna is dealing with others because Krishna is in everyone's heart, and when we realize that Krishna is in everyone's heart, we'll offer them respect. We're supposed to feel humility before every other person and and offer them all respect without expecting any respect in return, because we should be humbler than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree. If somebody um, insults us or even hits us, we should turn the other cheek. We should accept that as my due results of my own karma, but we should never fight back or engage in any kind of retribution, because whatever a devotee just thinks whatever happens to me is just happening because of my own sinful activities. And if he goes on with that attitude, just accepting humbly whatever Krishna gives him and waiting patiently for his mercy, then he's guaranteed to go back to Godhead, because that patience is the symptom of surrender, and surrender is the ultimate goal of any devotee. Surrender to Krishna is the bottom line and the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita. It's in the last chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the 18th chapter. Krishna says, Sarvadharman parityajya mamikam sharanam brajaham tam sarvapapebhyo mokshashami mahasacha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I will protect you from all kinds of sinful reactions. Do not fear. So when we do that, then we see that Krishna is actually doing everything in our activities. When we surrender to Krishna, we're no longer responsible for any of our activities. Krishna is doing everything through us, just like Arjuna on the battlefield. Krishna was engaging him in the war because he wanted to glorify his devotee. It didn't matter that Arjuna was fighting, but Krishna wanted this war because he wanted to kill all the demons. And so he asked Arjuna to fight because he wanted to glorify him. And by his humble service to Krishna, he was engaged in the battle and fought, and he won, of course. But at first, he didn't want to fight because he was attached to his family members. He didn't want to kill his grandpa and his cousin brothers, the Kurus. So we have to just surrender to Krishna because he wants us to. That's all. Because just like your mother used to say, um, just do this. And then you ask her why, because I told you to. That's why. It's very simple. Krishna consciousness is very simple. And that way we can also become servants of Krishna because we just do what Krishna tells us. Krishna says, always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer obeisances to me. And this way, surely you'll come to me. And so, if we go on repeating Krishna's words in the Bhagavad Gita, you just say, my dear sir, please surrender to Krishna, think of Krishna, become his devotee. And then we're guru. Krishna says, Lord Chaitanya said, everyone just repeat the message of Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and this way become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in the world. So we're not doing anything. Krishna is doing everything. Krishna has already said these words. They're already there. All we have to do is apply them and ask people to follow them. They're not our words. They're not our philosophy. If we know anything about Krishna from whatever we've read, we just repeat that to others and know that Krishna is the one that's doing everything. We don't have anything to do with it. We do nothing. Just like my spiritual master, when he was first a devotee, he came to Prabhupada and he said, so, Srila Prabhupada, should I renounce everything? And Prabhupada just started laughing at him. He said, what do you have to renounce? You don't have anything. Everything belongs to Krishna. So we should have that idea. Even our bodies belong to Krishna. We're not our bodies, they're Krishna's bodies. They should be used in his service. Everything should be used in his service. Krishna says, Yat kroshi yat ashnasi yat jadosi dadasi yat tapasi sikonteya mad karushva madarpanam. All that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities you perform should be done as an offering to me. And in this chapter here, this text, they're talking about how everything should be first offered to devotees because devotees are the friends of Krishna. Krishna doesn't know anybody but his devotees, and his devotees don't know anybody but him. So we have to approach Krishna through his devotees, and by those loving exchanges with his devotees, then Krishna will be pleased because he only cares about his devotees. He doesn't care about anything else. And so just says like it says, if you want to get the attention of a great man, if you love me, love my dog. Give the dog a treat or give the great man a piece of candy for his child or something. But you can only approach Krishna through the devotees. That's the only way. Krishna says in the Mahabharata, he says, one who claims to be my devotee is not my devotee. One who claims to be a devotee of my devotee, he's my devotee. So that's the standard of how to approach Krishna. There's no other way. Just like even the Christians say that there's, the only way to the Father is through Jesus, who was a devotee, so we have to go through the representative of Krishna in order to reach Krishna. And the representative of Krishna doesn't do anything that's on his own. He doesn't make anything up. He doesn't concoct his own philosophy. He's simply repeating what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and what Rupa Goswami says here in this book. Rupa Goswami was an intimate associate of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu empowered him to present the essence of Krishna consciousness so this Krishna consciousness could be spread all over the world. That's what this book is all about. And so we have to take that message, every morning before class, a devotee will say, Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayanta Dati Swapadandikam. Rupa means Rupa Goswami. That is the author of this particular book. He said, when will uh, Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter at his lotus feet? So we have to take shelter of the feet of the devotees, especially Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami and all the intimate associates of Lord Chaitanya have written all these books for us to follow. So we have to follow these books, and then we can be devotees. We can please the spiritual master who wants to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world the way Lord Chaitanya wants it done. Rupa Goswami we're all Rupa Nugas, which means we're followers of Rupa Goswami. So let me just continue with this. I'm
Oh
going.
yeah, Prabhuji. Actually, I have some questions.
Go ahead.
Um, so when you said devotee of the devotee, so but don't we also have the I'm a little confused. We also have the icon, the deity as well, pictures or
Yeah,
the
yeah, but the way we approach those pictures or deities, see, there's three different classes of devotees. There's a neophyte devotee, there's a middle class devotee, and then there's a first class devotee. A neophyte devotee will only see the picture in the temple. He'll only see the deity, and he'll offer respects to it and feed the deity, but he doesn't really pay that much attention to other people. But a middle class devotee, a Madhyama Adhikari, what they call him, he knows the deity, he serves the deity. The neophyte also doesn't know the subject matter of Krishna consciousness very well. So he uh, he can't explain it. He has some faith, but he doesn't really know how to explain what Krishna's words are. But he does have some faith, but he may he may give all respects and serve the deity in the temple or the picture, offer that picture food and whatever, and try to have a relationship with Krishna. That's very nice. But then you should also rise to the second class of devotee, which understands that other devotees are also servants, and we go through and understand Krishna more intimately by accepting instructions from the devotees, just like it says offer, inquiring, uh, opening one's mind to the devotees, inquiring from them about the confidential service of the Lord. So we open our minds to other devotees and then inquire from them how to serve Krishna. They know Krishna, just like it says in the Bhagavad Gita, Tadvidi paripatina pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnanam ganinas tattvadarshana. Just try to inquire from a bona fide spiritual master submissively, render service unto them, and surrender. The spiritual master can explain to you the absolute truth because he has seen the truth. So we have to learn the truth from the devotees and how to serve the supreme absolute truth or Krishna. because Krishna is the devotee's friend, friends, and Krishna and Krishna know the devotees know Krishna, and they can introduce us to him because they know all about him. They're serving him constantly, and we have to learn how to surrender and serve Krishna through the devotees. That's why we have to. But the first class of devotee, the first class devotee is one who thinks that all people are the same, and actually that he's the worst devotee of all of them. And he looks at everybody as a servant of Krishna, and he's the most fallen. He looks at himself like a worm in stool. He doesn't have any uh, qualifications whatsoever, and he looks at everyone as more advanced than he is. So, but he's not, but in order to preach Christian consciousness, you have to come down to the second class of devotees that discriminates between one who is innocent and one who is actually a devotee and one who is not a devotee. And he avoids the demonic type of people, but he makes friends with devotees and he tries to serve the advanced devotees. And that way, one can progress up the ladder to the first class position, which is a Mahabhagavat devotee who is completely unconditionally surrendered to Krishna and has an intimate relationship with him in love. That's
Ah,
the first class devotee, the Mahabhagavat, like Srila Prabhupada. He was a walking Bhagavatam. He knew how to handle everybody because he was only surrendered to Krishna. He would deal with everybody just the way Krishna wanted him to deal with them. And sometimes he would chastise them, sometimes he would praise them, sometimes he would encourage them. It says that he was as soft as a rose, but hard, sometimes as hard as a thunderbolt.
mm,
So, the spiritual master is only acting on behalf of Krishna. And so this way is very simple uh, program because we don't have any kind of good qualities of our own. Any good qualities we may have is coming from Krishna. So
right. Krishna acts through us. He's the one who does all the
he does
actions,
everything.
everything.
We don't have to do anything. That's the beauty of Krishna consciousness. We're not really doing anything. Those who think they're the doer are deluded by their own activities. It's called a false ego. If you think you're the doer of activities, which actuality carried out by nature, we're all in the material nature, and we think we're the doer. Just like they have this whole democracy deal, and everybody thinks that I'm the doer. I am controlling. I'm a citizen of this land. I am in a democracy. It's by the people, for the people, of the people. But no, they're the people themselves, even though they think they're the controllers of their democracy, they're controlled by these three modes of material nature, and so they're not really in control at all. It's only when we understand that Krishna is the one in control of the material nature and recognize that supreme controller that we can understand things as they are. Otherwise, we're always in illusion, thinking, I am the one that's doing this. I'm controlling my family. I am the owner of my family, of my nation, and everybody should serve me, or maybe I can serve them a little bit. But as long as you think you're the doer, you're an illusion.
Mm,
We're not the doer of anything. Krishna is actually doing everything. Either you're controlled by the external energy or the spirit, the modes of nature, or we're controlled by Krishna directly. We can choose, though, whichever one energy we want to be um, attached to. But if we choose Krishna's inferior energy, the external energy, then we'll be kicked by material nature because we're not really in our constitutional position of surrender. But
oh
if we
yeah. So
Krishna, then we can be happy.
so Prabhuji, so regarding that you said it's like acting in sattva guna, doing the good, choosing the right path, doing
Yeah, but
good
we have to go
things.
beyond sattva.
Oh
Sattva
yeah.
guna is the mode of goodness, but Sudasattva means transcendental goodness. See, when we surrender to Krishna, there's three modes. There's Sattva gun, Rajagun, and Tamagun. The
Yep.
people in the mode of Sattva gun, they think of all people as the same. They're everyone, despite their color or ethnicity, they think that everybody's the same. Like they have an equal vision and they don't discriminate between one person just because of his skin color or their ethnicity. And their very mode of goodness means that they are philosophically inclined. They have poetic thoughts. They think about deep things. And the mode of passion, they just want more money. You know, the mode of passion, they want to accomplish something. They're very hard workers. They usually worship demonic people. People in the mode of passion, they want to get ahead in the world. It's kind of like a dog eat dog rat race for people in the mode of passion. And people in the mode of ignorance, they are simply want to sleep and do drugs, and they're dreaming. They have one-pointed attention. They want to accomplish something, but they don't really have any direction. They don't know which way to go because they're not guided by any kind of higher principle. So that's the mode of ignorance.
Yeah.
But there's different modes, and we're all controlled by these modes. But we have to, and Krishna tells Arjuna to rise above all these modes and surrender to me. Then you'll actually understand which way to go, because Krishna tells you from without. We have the Shastra, we have these scriptures here. It's instructing us what exactly to do. And we have the super soul in our heart that's telling us from within, and we have our friends, the devotees, that are confirming that. And that way we become free to act. And we can still use our intelligence how to navigate that path. It's a very strict path back to Godhead. We surrender to Krishna, and I was just reading about that in one of uh, the books here. Just like the
Uh,
quote here says, although it's essential to follow the instructions of the spiritual master closely, a little intelligence in the application of those instructions is also required. A first-class service servant will anticipate the needs of his spiritual master rather than simply wait to be told everything. One who is expert at pleasing the guru can do many things on his own initiative and still adhere strictly to all the instructions. Our intelligence shouldn't be stereotyped or inflexible. See, the reason he wrote that is because he was a personal servant of Krishna. He was new, and he was serving Srila Prabhupada in Vrindavan in 1975. And he said, "Okay, you just sit here on this mat and be the guard of my door. And when I need anything, I'll ask you." But he was sleeping, and he told him not to move. And so but he noticed that his water pot where he'd drink all the water was empty, and he said, "Well, if I go downstairs, then if he wakes up, then he'll have to wait to get the water." So he was like perplexed about what to do. He didn't know whether he should fill up the water or wait or you know go. But if he had to fill up the water, if he chose to fill up the water, then Prabhupada would have been upset uh, because the water wasn't because he wasn't there. He's supposed to stay there. That was his instruction. You have to stay at my door all the time. Otherwise, and so, but he learned from Prabhupada. He explained his dilemma about his service, and Prabhupada said, "Okay, but he kind of indicated that wasn't the best thing to do. The best thing to do would have been to fill up the water, and then Prabhupada would have been able to take his, water when he got up. But he should have, used his intelligence in order to figure out what to do. See what I'm saying?
Instead of just simply getting the water, you mean?
Instead of like exactly adhering to Prabhupada's instruction, which
Mm,
is stay on this mat here in front of my door and don't
right.
move, he should have gotten up and gotten the water. That would have been the best thing. You have to use your intelligence how to serve Krishna the best. It's not like a strict thing. You have to figure out what the best way to serve. You have flexibility in that decision.
All right.
So that
Okay.
was the point.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So let me just go finish this paragraph here. We're going to have to cut this off at 6:45 because that's when my wife is going to serve dinner, and we said we'd keep it to 45 minutes. So we'll try to get through a few paragraphs here. Um, Sometimes we have, oh, let's see here. Where is this? Okay.
Yeah.
Um, where did we leave off here?
Let me see.
We
Not sure.
Okay, intimate. In the previous verse, Srila Rupa Goswami advised that one should renounce worldly association. In other words, just don't go hang out at the bar with anybody or go to the sports complex or go to the Oakmont to see the golf tournament this weekend. This town is going to be really busy because there are going to be all kinds of people going to this golf tournament in Oakmont,
Yeah.
it's a big thing. It's a big deal.
I know when they had like racing, like I remember like my friend and I, we went to Shenley Park. There was me down straight down Darlington and follow. And they had like barricades and stuff put up.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
the construction they're fortunately they're not going to have the Squirrel Hill Tunnel is not going to be closed. That's a big slowdown, but they're going to open that up. The one lane is like closed down. My wife has to like wait for an hour to get through the Squirrel Hill Tunnel now. You live
Oh
in Squirrel,
man.
right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
you know that lane closure there, don't you? Or do you drive at all?
Uh no, I don't drive.
Yeah, so you don't know about that lane closure, but my wife drives all over the place and she has to go to out, 2230 through Forest Hills, and to get through that Squirrel Hill Tunnel, there's a lane closure there. It's going to be closed on one side for a while, but they've suspended that so that people can go to this golf tournament because otherwise it would be just a mess. Yeah, they really do a lot of construction work and during the summertime, and that can end up, causing traffic delays.
So wait, did you say that Prepligy, or did you say that they'll be opening up that lane whenever?
They're going to open it up on this weekend because the tournament actually starts on Thursday and it'll go run through the weekend. The Oakmont Golf Tournament,
Ah,
U.S. Open. It's a big deal. There'll be thousands of
yeah.
people all from all over the country and sportscasters and fans, and it's all sold out, but it's in Oakmont Golf Course.
Hmm.
Prabhupada used to take a look at the people playing golf or boating, on the river with boats and stuff. When he was seeing that, he actually started crying because he saw how people are wasting their life. They're not doing what they should be doing, which is taking shelter of Krishna, and they're just wasting their time putting a ball in the hole. You know, they're not engaging their human form of life in the higher purpose, which is to understand who we are, what our relationship with God, how we can serve Him. And so, therefore, we're just playing games. We're just like little children, and we're wasting our entire valuable human life. And we might become animals in our next life. They race around in these cars, and just like a dog on four legs, they might become a dog in their next life because you you become in your next life whatever you think of in this life. So if you spend your time racing around a track on four wheels with a car, maybe in your next life you can run around like a dog. Or if you like to sleep all the time, maybe become a bear. If you like to eat meat, maybe become a tiger. If you
For
like if you
for
like
oh yeah,
that,
sorry. For sleep, I was thinking, or a sloth, right? Exactly.
yeah, sloth. Sloth are very slow. They sleep a lot. Or a cat. Cats sleep like 16, 20 hours a day, Our cats are always.
Yeah.
But Prabhupada actually, he got up in the middle of the night and he was translating. Krishna consciousness means, animal life is eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. That's animal propensity. And human beings, they haven't really got, because we're kind of like animals. All we also do eating, sleeping, and mating and defending. We're also animals in that way. But human intelligence is a little higher because we can actually understand who we are. And we shouldn't, just eat, sleep, mate, and defend like animals because then we're wasting our human form of life, which is a chance to get out of the cycle of birth and death and become liberated and no longer have to take birth again. I mean, that is the opportunity. So the most dangerous type of fear is to waste this type of human life and then have to take birth as an animal and then go through all the species again and have to start over from scratch. And then you don't remember Krishna because you're covered over like an animal. Animal can't understand this philosophy. We can. That's why Krishna gave it to us so that we can understand it and give it to others. So we have to, Lord Chaitanya says we have to just repeat whatever Krishna says in these books and then try to become a guru and liberate everybody else. Because we've already given this knowledge to whom much is to whom much is given, much is required. So Krishna requires, he's very happy if we spread this knowledge. Krishna and the Guru are very happy if we simply repeat exactly what Krishna says. We're not manufacturing anything.
And
So
it's like with Sangha or association.
yeah, Sangha, Satsanga. Sat means truth. And the satsanga, the devotees are situated in the truth. And so that means you associate with devotees, you're associating with the truth. It just depends. Association is very powerful. Whoever you're hanging out with, you're going to become like. So if you hang out with drunks or crackheads, you'll become a crackhead or a drunk. If you hang out with devotees, then you become a devotee. You eat prasad, you chant Hare Krishna, you'll be like a devotee. Your heart will be purified and you'll be happy. The drunks and crackheads think they're happy, just like a drunk could be laying in the gutter thinking, and you'll ask him how he is, and he says, "I'm fine, I'm great," and then he pukes all over himself. But they're not really fine because then they sober up and then they have a hangover, and so it's not really very good happiness because it's temporary. But Krishna consciousness is an ever increasing ocean of happiness. There's never any limit to the amount of happiness that a devotee has because it's not material. And it's a reciprocal relationship between the devotee and Krishna. Krishna is reciprocating with his devotee, and as we surrender to him, he rewards us accordingly. And we get more and more happiness, more and more service. The karmis, they want less service and more pay. The devotee wants more service and less pay. When I'm just reading this book about how this servant, Harisari, uh, got the opportunity to serve Krishna. He couldn't believe how fortunate he was to be able to personally serve the Guru. He massaged him twice a day. He would lay out all his clothes. He would take his water and make sure everything's clean. He was his personal servant, living in pretty much his own personal quarters right next to Srila Prabhupada, and he had a little bell, and he would just, assist him and make sure he didn't have any problems while he was engaged in his activity of spreading Krishna consciousness. So that's what a servant does. He just tries to help the spiritual master. And then, if you do that according to the desire of the spiritual master, then he'll bless you and you'll be given more and more service. And he was so happy to be engaged in that way because that's rare to be engaged in the service of a pure devotee like that. Why don't you read the rest of this paragraph? I'm just taking up all this time here. Start with the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Start right there and read.
Okay. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness has been established to facilitate these six kinds of loving exchanges between devotees. This society was started single-handedly, but because people are coming forward and dealing with the give and take policy, the society, oh wait, no. Yep. The society is now expanding all over the world. We are glad that people are donating very liberally to the development of the society's activities. And people are also eagerly accepting whatever humble contribution we are giving them in the shape of books and magazines, dealing strictly with the subject matter of Krishna consciousness. We sometimes hold Hare Krishna festivals and invite life members and friends to participate in the feasting by accepting prasada. Let's see. Although most of our members come from the higher rungs of society, they nonetheless come and take whatever um, little prasada we are able to offer them. Sometimes the members and supporters inquire very confidentially about the methods of performing devotional service. And we try to explain this in this way.
So we're going to have to stop here. Do you have any questions? It's like 2 minutes left here. Do you have any
Oh,
questions about this? We'll take up next Tuesday. We'll start this again.
okay. No, wait. Let's see. Yeah, I guess regarding the service to the devotees, as I said, Krishna, a devotee is not a devotee of Krishna, but a devotee is a devotee of
A devotee of the devotee. Just like it says, Gopi Gabartu Padakamalayar Das Das Anudas. I am a servant of the servant of the servant of the gopis, of Radharani. And she is serving Krishna. And so if Radharani is pleased with our service, then Krishna will be pleased. Because Krishna has to accept that person. If Radharani recommends somebody to Krishna, he says, "Oh, this is such a nice devotee. You should accept him in your service." Krishna has to accept. So we're servants of a servants of a servant, so like three times removed, you know. That's what our position is, and we're all followers of Rupa Goswami, who taught this science of devotion and rasa, and you know how to follow in the footsteps of these people that are already on the spontaneous platform of love of God. The gopis are on the highest platform. They are never think about themselves. They're constantly thinking of how to serve Krishna, what will please Krishna. And when we please and serve, it says in the when we serve the spiritual master, like it's Srila Prabhupada, we sing in our Guru Vasagam prayers every morning in the Samsara prayers. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one gets the association of Krishna. Without the mercy of the spiritual master, no one can make any advancement. So we have to go through the spiritual master and execute service, render service to him submissively, inquire submissively. Just like Prabhupada is telling here, sometimes they inquire, they give some contribution, and we only talk about Krishna, and then they inquire confidentially about the methods of performing devotional service, and we try to explain it in the way that Krishna wants us to. And if we do that, then we duplicate our efforts, and people will learn how to do the same thing, and then Krishna consciousness will grow all over the world.
yeah. And I know if you said with the activities, I know the purpose of the life is to serve, but there can also be, well, you can also serve the devotees, but also have a little bit, some material enjoyment, right? Yeah.
Well, when we have the idea I'm enjoying separately, if we have a separate mentality, like this is my own enjoyment, this is mine, this is me, we should always have the idea that Krishna, this is Krishna's house, this is Krishna's food. We offer everything. All that you do, all that you offer, give away, as well as all austerity for me perform, should be done as an offering to me. So we offer our food to Krishna, and then he eats it, and he gives us the remnants. And this way, we're actually reciprocating with Krishna. So it's a reciprocal process. If we think that everything belongs to me and it's only for my enjoyment, then
Oh, yeah,
may think
false ego.
temporarily that it's enjoyment, like what is done for our own sense gratification may be like nectar in the beginning, but it's like poison in the end. But what if we
Yeah.
do austerity and offer our food to Krishna, then we can enjoy also this food, and whatever we do, we can work for Krishna, we can write for Krishna, we can talk to other people for Krishna. Everything we do is for Krishna. Then our activities are dovetailed in his service. And if we have the attitude of always pleasing him the way he wants, If he wants to have a glass of water, we give him a glass of water. We don't give him a glass of milk. We just do it the way he wants. And then it's just like it says, let go, let God. Do, not my will, thy will be done. We can still enjoy just like a servant enjoys when his master is happy. So we can also be happy and satisfied in our service. But if we simply serve our senses, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, we'll never be happy because there's no
Yeah.
there's no constant happiness. Even if you like to do something, if you like to eat ice cream or something, you can only eat a certain amount of ice cream before you get a stomach ache.
Yep.
But Krishna consciousness
Exactly.
is everlasting and unlimited happiness because it's ever increasing and Krishna, it's always fresh and new because Krishna is fresh and new. And he's Navayovana, always youthful. And it's never a dull moment, Krishna consciousness, because Krishna consciousness is from the spiritual world. And everything else is like puna puna charvita charvananam. It's chewing the chewed. If we simply eat, sleep, mate, and defend, we've been doing that for millions of lives. What's new about that? There's nothing new. Even a pig enjoys eating stool. So we shouldn't eat and live like pigs and dogs and hogs and fight like cats and dogs. We should actually engage in Krishna consciousness and try to serve Krishna's senses. Instead of serving our own senses, we should try to serve Krishna's senses. That's the bottom line. That's what I'm trying to say. And whatever you do, even if you're, just like the cowherd boys, they would play games. But they would play the games for Krishna, and they would get on each other's shoulders and do wrestling, and they would imitate the animals in the forest, and they would just have fun. But it was all centered around Krishna. They didn't know anybody but Krishna, so he's our friend. We accept it. We serve him. We offer our friendship to him. We surrender everything to him, and that way we become happy, and that's real happiness. It's not the happiness of satisfying our senses, because
Right.
that will be only limited.
So
Remember,
I guess as a final question,
sure.
um, in regards to that, so it's like when we are, but even though we're not actually the ones doing, it's through Krishna, but when the activities take place, like you said, gopis played games and imitated the animals and stuff, but it's all the mindset is thinking it's like, okay, this isn't mine,
Yeah, it's
it's
not just for me. It's
Krishna's.
for I'm doing this for Krishna. Whatever you do,
Yes.
Krishna says, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, as well as whatever austerity. If even if you're a drunk, if you're an alcoholic, if you think that the taste of this wine is Krishna, because Krishna says, I am the taste and water. If you think I'm the taste of this wine is Krishna, you become Krishna conscious because Krishna is the source of everything. So whatever you do, do it for Krishna and understand that everything is coming from Krishna and he's giving us all these facilities to think of him. It's not difficult to think of Krishna. I'm the taste of water, I'm the light of the sun and the moon. I am the sound in the Vedic mantras. He's everything. So if we remember Krishna in that way, then we'll be throughout our day, we'll be able to know who he is and serve him, please his senses instead of our own. That's the bottom line of the Bhagavad Gita. And because we're not polluting that, we're not just deviating from that bottom line that we have to serve Krishna's senses instead of our own. That means that's the reason why this Krishna consciousness movement is successful because it's not selfish. It's for Krishna. It's Krishna's movement. It's not our movement. And we don't do anything. Krishna's doing everything. He's expanding this movement. He's giving us all the knowledge, all the air, all the food, everything. And we should give it back to him because that's just a loving relationship, you know? And if we
Yep.
don't, if we just eat for our own sense gratification, it says in the Bhagavad Gita, we're only eating sin because we're doing it for ourselves. Anyway, I've got to go, but
All
thank
right.
you for attending. I appreciate your getting on here. Didn't expect it.
Yeah.
Nice surprise. So thank you very much, and maybe we'll see you on Tuesday.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji, as well. Haribol. It was nice to be able to especially ask questions like
Yeah,
clarification
yeah, like
into the
I'm
theory.
always open to question, and I want to hear from you. I want to reciprocate with your questions, try to answer according to not my own speculation, but the way that I've learned it from my spiritual master, and hopefully Krishna will give you the intelligence to help you in whatever way I can.
And then like this with an exchange of knowledge, it's like this is this is serving Krishna as well.
Absolutely. Krishna says, whenever there's two or more of them gathered in my name, there I am in the midst of them. There's always like a third person there, and that's Krishna. Krishna is always there with his devotees, and the devotees derive great pleasure and delight in conversing with about amongst one another about Krishna because he's the only one that is worth saying anything about, because he is perfect. He's the perfect lover. He's the perfect friend. He's the perfect master. He's just perfect in every way because he's God. And we have so many contaminations, and all of our relationships are bound to end. But if we develop a relationship with Krishna, that never ends. And whatever we accomplish in this life and our progress back to Godhead is in our eternal bank account. If we get through it like 1%, then we start in our next life at 1%. If we get through at 50%, we start on our next life 50%. So it's always accumulated though. And so then,
Makes sense.
yeah,
Yep.
and we would try to get out of this material world completely because this is not a very nice place.
No, it's not.
Prabhupada says, spiritual master said, this is no place for a gentleman, or a lady. It's full of birth, death, old age, and disease. Everybody's fighting, and you know, it's pretty bad. So we should get out of this temporary world and go to a place where there is no more birth, death, old age, and disease, where all the walking is dancing and all the talking is singing, and everybody's happy. You don't see Krishna unhappy. You ever seen Krishna on back of the building smoking a cigarette?
No, Prabhuji.
Yeah, because he's always happy. He's not engaging in sense gratification and and just all bummed out all the time. He's perfectly happy in his relationship with his friends and his lovers in the spiritual world. He's inviting us to join him, so we should go.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you maybe on Tuesday if you can make it. Or
Yeah, I'm planning to be there on Tuesday.
yeah, 7 o'clock we start, right?
All
When you
right.
get
Yep.
on your cats. Is that what you do on Tuesday, cats?
Yeah, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Right, yeah. So hope to
I'll be
see
around like
Krishna willing.
6:45 ish. I'll get back.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Hemang.
Thank
Bye.
you, Prabhuji, as well. Hari